Well, hello everyone. Thought I'd show you what I've been up to on the coupe. I got the flywheel and pressure plate back from the machinist, installed that. So then that allowed me to install the motor again. Hopefully, for the last time for now. So that allowed me to work on the pedals. And what I've done, first I had to get the anti-chatter rods or torque rods. I had to extend those about 1.5 inches, get those in. Got those both sides, had to bend this one around to get around the clutch and the brake pedal and lever. I made a positive stop for the clutch return so that I could adjust the distance between the throwout bearing and the clutch fork. Keep that at a minimum. I've also been working on the intake, getting that all set up. Stock, it comes with a road draft tube that comes out of here that allows for the crankcase to breathe, and it goes down at the bottom of the car, but some guys like the positive crankcase ventilation. It stops a lot of oil leaks, smoke and oil and stuff going underneath the car and in your car and all that. So anyway, I decided to go with a PCV valve. I found a thread on the ham that had all the parts listed, so I went ahead and did that. I installed the PCV valve, and then this is where it would get its vacuum from the intake. So I just have to put a rubber hose from here to here, and then I'll have my PCV set up. I need to make or buy a block off plate for my original fuel pump area, since I'm running a electric fuel pump. And then I went ahead and mounted the new Stromberg carburetors, and I did just like the Bishop Tardell book instructs you to do. First I removed the carb from the carb base, then I squared up the carb bases to each other using some squares and stuff. That way there the throttle shafts will be parallel, and you won't wear them out weird and they won't bind. So once I got those parallel, I tightened them down. Then I went ahead and I held the throttle butterfly closed while the bases while the carburetor was off and still a base. I held them closed, set the throttle arm to 45 degrees, did the same thing for this one, 45 degrees, and then that allowed me to hook them both up together. And then, so at closed throttle, they're both at 45 degrees, both butterflies are fully closed. And then at full throttle, they're at 45 degrees also, and the throttles are fully open. Both of them are fully open. So that's how I did my linkage to match the carbs together. And then, of course, on the other side, it would just be the throttle that you would give, and both carbs open up. So that's what's been going on here now. After putting the intake manifold on the car with the offset generator that I have to run to get my fan low enough, the oil filler or breather tube, the intake for the crankcase ventilation, I'm going to have to modify that around that. So a little more work to do there. I did finish up my fuel system. This is the hose coming up from underneath the car, mounted to the fuel block. I got my fuel pressure gauge here, and then these two hoses are the height of the carburetor intake fuel inlets, so the hoses will come out and go to each carburetor. Should be pretty clean setup. And right now I'm kind of working on my whole fan clearance, and probably putting the radiator and stuff back on to get all that together. And then the intake manifold goes on, throttle, pedal, linkage, that kind of stuff. Alright, well, I modified the breather tube. All I did is heat it up and bend it a little bit, just enough to clear the back of this. Now this is the stock original tall one. I could have the option of just putting like a freeze plug and blocking this off, and then using an earlier model flathead oil breather and put it in there. But my thinking is that if I did that for crankcase ventilation, the fresh air would be coming in here, going right down to the pan underneath the block, and then back up and out through the PCV valve. But if I use the original one up here, that's going to go ahead and ventilate that whole lifter valley area, then go down and ventilate the whole motor. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and get a little block off plate for that. I haven't really seen anybody do that right there, but we'll see. And I always have the option to change it later on. That's nothing permanent there. It's pretty easy to change it out. I don't know if it's a big deal or not to have this lifter valley ventilated, but originally that's what they did. So I think it's a good idea to keep it that way. But if anybody else has some suggestions, go ahead and post up. Let me know. Also got the MSD distributor in. I tried to look at the timing charts that came with the distributor and do some research on the timing for the flathead. So it goes up pretty quick. They say you want a pretty steep advance curve for your spark, 22 degrees. So what I did is I went with the lightest springs, the 2 light silver springs, which is going to bring that spark advance up to 22 degrees, well actually 21 degrees. I had the option of 21 degrees or 23 degrees, so I went with the 21. But anyway, it'll advance it really quick, and I'm going to start there with the fastest advance available, and once it's running and I'm tuning, I may adjust that, but right now that's where I'm at. So that's good. I took the radiator in this morning to get the bottom outlets adjusted a little bit. They were 1 1/8 too high, so I had them ask the radiator shop just to bend them down a little bit, and then my hoses will fit right. So we'll see about that. I got the motor up on top dead center on compression. Got those marked, timing marks marked, and that's when I put in my distributor, lined up number 1 where I wanted it, and should be good to go once I get some plug wires and everything ready to go. Should be close enough to start it up. So got some fuel inlet nipples now on the carburetors, so now I can run my hoses from here to there and from here to there. I also need to run my PCV valve hose. I did have to shorten my brake pedal just a little bit to get those lined up evenly across, because the brake pedal was way up, about 1 inch up higher than the clutch. So I went ahead and cut that and welded it back up, and now they're the same height and everything. So got that done. And I think that's about it for this update. It's coming along. I still have to get some correct size bolts for my water outlets. Little things here and there. Not too interesting for you guys, but I thought I'd keep you updated with what's been going on anyway. I can put my headers back on now. I got to figure out how to connect the headers to the exhaust pipe. I need to get shorter bolts for that. But anyway, that's where I'm at. It's coming together. It's getting closer. It's going to be fun to fire this thing up. But hey, thanks for watching, you guys.